Hello everyone. We will see our next functionality, that is comparing abstract model. So this functionality, it helps user to compare the two different abstract model files and find out the differences very quickly between the values and the model item. So there are two anchors provided. So one is attribute name and another is model item. So one can use any one anchor that compare the two abstract model files. So in the UI, you will find a menu where you can just select the anchor, either model item or the attribute name, and you can just compare your two abstract model files. Now the attribute name anchor, it is useful if you're following a standard naming for your attribute within an organization. So if you're sure that the attribute names are consistent across your abstract model files, then it is easy to compare the files based on the attribute name anchor. And you can just find out the differences in their model item and the values very quickly. But if you guys are not following any consistent naming for your attribute, then you can just compare the attribute by using model item as an anchor. Now the attributes from the both the AMF, those will fall in three different categories. So first one is the attributes from both the AMF will have the same name. The second category is the attributes will have the same model items, and the third category is the attributes will have both the things same, that is their names as well as model items, those are same. So attributes from both the AMFs will fall in either of these categories. So for example, if your attributes they are falling in first category, that is their names are same, then it's good to use attribute name as an anchor while comparing your abstract model files. If your attributes are falling in second category, that is the model items are same, then it is good to use model item as an anchor and you can compare your abstract model files. But if your attribute falls in this category, that is the naming as well as the model items are same, then irrespective of anchor used, you will always get the same results. So we will see some examples of abstract model files where the attribute falls in each of these categories, and we will see how to compare those things and what results it shows when we have their comparison. Let's see the first case now. So you can see here, this is the case which is falling in my first category, that is the attribute names, those are same. So let's say I have two abstract model files, AMF1 and AMF2, and both the abstract model file, it has the mesh curvature attribute, and the name of those attributes are exactly same, but the values, that is the mesh curvature value, is different, as well as the model items, those are different between the attribute. Now when I compare both these abstract model files with attribute name as an anchor, then the comparison of both the attribute will happen, and the reason why the comparison will happen is the naming of my both the attributes is exactly same, and I'm using attribute name as an anchor, and the comparison result will show that my model items, those are different, as well as the values are also different between the attributes. So likewise, if you guys are following some standard practices for your attribute naming, and if your attribute names are same, then with the help of attribute name anchor, you can just compare the abstract model files and you can just find out the differences very quickly in CA Nexus. Now let's see what will happen when I just change the anchor to model item with the same abstract model files. Now if I just change my anchor to model items, then you know that my model items are different. Then in this case, the comparison of two attributes, it will not happen. But the result, whatever you will see in the CA Nexus, it will highlight that this attribute is present in the first abstract model file, but this is not present in the second abstract model file. Same will apply for this attribute, that is this attribute is present in my second abstract model file, but it is not present in the first abstract model file. So you can see here, this is what the result will highlight, that is the attribute is present in the first abstract model file, that is this one, but it is not present in the second abstract model file. Similarly, this attribute, it is not present in my first abstract model file, but it is present in the second abstract model file. So always, if you guys are following some standard naming for the attribute, it's good to use attribute name as an anchor so that you can find out the differences very quickly between the attributes. So with this, let's have a small demonstration of this case so that you will understand how exactly CA Nexus highlights the differences between your two abstract model files. You can see here, I have opened my first abstract model file in CA Nexus, and now my objective is I want to compare this abstract model file with another abstract model file. So what I'll do is I'll click on this icon, that is compare abstract model, and after clicking on this, it will ask me for the second abstract model file, which is to be compared with my first abstract model file. So I'll just select the second abstract model file here, and I'll click on open. So this will highlight my comparison result, or this will show me the comparison result between the two abstract model files. So you can see here there are two tabs. So first tab is abstract entity and the second tab is the attribute. So abstract entity tab, it will highlight the differences between the abstract entities from both the AMFs. So you can see here it is saying that for this abstract entity, that is the 15th one, the shell 2D, it is present in my first abstract model file, but it is not present in my second abstract model file. Whereas all other abstract entities, those are present in both the abstract model file. So this tab will highlight the differences in the abstract entities between two abstract model files. Now attribute tab, it will highlight the differences between the attributes from both the AMF. Now you have the option here to select the anchor. So first one is model item, second is attribute name. So let's say if I am clicking on attribute name here, then the comparison of attribute will happen based on the attribute naming. So you can see here for this mesh curvature attribute, it is saying that model items, those are different as well as my values are different. For all other attribute, the results are same. That is, all other attributes are same between both the abstract model files. Now, if I want to see some more details about this comparison, then I can just right click on it and I can just click on show details. So it will highlight that my model items, those are different in both the AMF. So in the first AMF, my model item is model, whereas in second AMF, my model item is solid. As well as there is a difference in the mesh curvature value. So likewise, with attribute name anchor, you can compare the attribute in case you guys are following a standard naming for your attribute. Let's see what will happen if I just change my anchor point to model item. So when I change this, then you can see here in the upper window, everything is showing same, that is comparison happened based on the model items. And at the bottom you can see that the attributes which are present in these separate abstract model files. So this attribute, that is mesh curvature, it is present in my first abstract model file, but it is not present in the second abstract model file. Similarly, this attribute is not present in the first abstract model file, but it is present in the second abstract model file. Maybe you can have the details for this attribute just by clicking on it, that is right click on it and just click on show details. So you can see that in the AMF1 my model item is model, and maybe for this second attribute, my model item is solid. So model items are different. That's why the comparison has not happened, and we have selected model item as an anchor. So unless and until your model items are same, the comparison will not happen. And that's the reason is showing that the first attribute is present in this first AMF, whereas the second attribute is only present in the second AMF. So it's always good to compare the AMFs based on attribute name anchor if you guys are following a standard naming for your attributes. Let's now see another case which falls in the second category. Now, this is the case which falls in the second category, that is the attributes, they are having same model items. So let's say I have two AMF, AMF-A and AMF-B, and it has a point force attribute. And the naming of the attribute is different, that is one is having load as a name, whereas another is having force as a name. The values are also different between the attribute, but the model items, those are same between both the attribute. So in such case, if I use attribute name as an anchor, then the comparison of attribute will not happen because the name is different for these attributes. So the comparison result will highlight that my load attribute is present in the first AMF, that is AMF-A, whereas it is not present in the AMF-B. Similarly, the force attribute, that is this one, it is not present in AMF-A, whereas it is present in the AMF-B. So, as I said, attribute name anchor, it is useful if you guys are following some standard naming for your attribute. Otherwise, it is good to use model item as an anchor. So let's see what will happen if I just change my anchor from attribute name to model item for this particular case. So with model item as an anchor, the comparison of both the attribute will happen. The reason is my model items, those are same between the attributes, and I'm using model item as an anchor. And the comparison result will show that the model items are same, whereas the values are different. So in case you're not following the standard naming for your attribute, it is always good to compare the attribute based on model item anchor. Let's have a quick demonstration of this case so that you'll understand how exactly CNXS highlights the comparison result for such cases. You can see here I have open abstract model file A in CNXS, and now my objective is to compare this AMF-A with AMF-B. So all of you know that for comparison, one need to click on this icon, that is compare abstract model. After that, we have to just select the abstract model file which is to be compared. So I'll just select AMF-B here and I'll click on open. So this will highlight a comparison result between two abstract model files. So as I said earlier, abstract entity tab will highlight the differences in the abstract entities. So you can see here for this case, there is no difference in the abstract entities. That is, all the abstract entities are present in both the AMF. Now, if I go in the attribute tab and if I just set my anchor to model items, then the comparison will happen based on the model item. So you can see here, I can see some difference for this attribute, that is point force attribute. So load is one attribute and force is another attribute from the AMFB that is compared, and the result shows that the model items are same but the values are different. Now I can see more details by right clicking on it, and if I click on show details, then it will highlight that model items are same in both the AMFs for this attribute, but there is a difference in the force value. So if you are not following a standard naming for your attribute, then it is always good to compare the abstract model files with model items as an anchor. Now let's see what happens if I just change the anchor to attribute name. Then you can see here with attribute name as an anchor, here at the bottom window, it is highlighting the attributes present in separate AMF. So this load attribute, it is present in my AMF-A, but it is not present in the AMF-B. Similarly, the force attribute or the attribute having force name, it is not present in the AMF-A, but it is present in AMF-B. Now, in such cases, as I said, it is good to use model item as an anchor because you know that your model items are same and you are not following some standard naming for your attribute. So this is how you can do the comparison of the attribute which falls in this second category. That is, the attributes are having same model items, but they are not having same names. Let's now see the third category and let's see how we can compare the attributes which are following in that third category. Now, this is the case which falls in the third category, that is, attributes are having same name as well as they are having same model items. So let's say I have two abstract model files, that is coupling 1 and coupling 2, and it contains a mat1 attribute, and for that attribute I am having the same name as well as I am having the same model items, but the values within those attributes, those are different. So when I compare these two abstract model files with attribute name as an anchor, then the comparison of attribute will happen because the naming of both the attribute is same, and the comparison will highlight that the model items are same but the values are different. So as I said earlier, like if you're sure you guys are following some standard naming for your attribute, then it is good to go with attribute name as an anchor. But let's see what happens when I compare such cases with model item anchor. Now with model item as an anchor, the comparison between both the attribute will happen again. The reason is model items are same here and we are using model item as an anchor. And the comparison result will highlight that model items are same but the values are different. Now this result is same as that of the result which we got when we set anchor as attribute name. So whenever your attributes are having same name and same model item, then it actually does not matter which anchor you are using. So irrespective of the anchor, in such cases, you will always get the same results. Let's have a quick demonstration of this case so that you'll understand how exactly CNXS is comparing the attributes which are falling in this category. You can see here I have opened my coupling one AMF in CNXS, and now my objective is to compare this AMF with coupling two AMF. So all of you know that for comparing the AMF, one need to click on this icon, that is compare abstract model. After that, we have to just select the abstract model file which is to be compared. So I'll just select coupling 2 here and I'll click on open. So this will show me the comparison result. So all of you know that in the abstract entity tab, I'll see the differences in the abstract entities. So for this case, there are no abstract entities which are different between the two AMF. So all the abstract entities, those are present in my first AMF as well as in my coupling 2, that is the second AMF as well. Now if I go in the attribute tab and if I just select the anchor as an attribute name, then the comparison of attribute will happen based on the attribute names, and this is what the result is showing. So for this attribute, that is mat1, which is having the name still1430, I'm getting results like model items are same, but the values are different. So I can see more details by right clicking on it, and I can just go to show details, and it's showing that my model items are same here, but there is a difference in the value of Poisson's ratio. Now, if I just change my attribute anchor to model item, then still I'm getting the same results. That is, for this attribute, my model items are same and the values are different. Maybe I can again check some details here, and I'm getting the same result, that is model items are same but the values are different. So in such cases where your attribute name as well as your model items are same, it actually does not matter which anchor you are selecting. Irrespective of anchor, you will always get the same results. So just remember that if you guys are following some consistent naming for your attribute, then it is always useful to compare the attribute with the help of attribute name as an anchor. But if you guys are not following any consistent naming, then you can just compare the abstract model file based on your model items. That is by using model item as an anchor. So this is how you can compare the abstract model file in CNXS, and this functionality will help you to find out the differences very quickly between the model items and the values from two attributes. So this is all about this functionality. If you guys are having any question or queries, then please feel free to contact at support@novusnexus.com, and we'll get back to you accordingly. We will now meet in the next functionality. Till then, have a good day. Bye.